What are the main differences between Scrum and Kanban? Today, I will show you not only the differences, but also how they might impact your team and your style of work. My name is Vladimir, I am an Agile coach, and this is Practical Agile. First, let me very briefly describe both Scrum and Kanban. Scrum is an agile project management framework frequently used in software development. It was designed to help development teams organize their work in a complex environment with frequently changing conditions. The main characteristic of Scrum is that it is an iterative and incremental framework. All work in Scrum is organized into time-boxed iterations called sprints. Kanban, on the other hand, is a lean workflow management method. It was originally developed in automotive industry to improve manufacturing workflow efficiency, but it also works very well for software development workflows. Compared to Scrum, there are no iterations, and the work is being delivered continuously. Kanban focuses on a visualization and on a continual optimization of existing workflows while limiting the number of work items in progress. The organization of work into sprints in Scrum requires the team to be committed to a sprint delivery. Such commitments don't exist in Kanban, but in Scrum, the team must make the commitment at the end of sprint planning, otherwise no work on the sprint can be started. In my experience, the value and reliability of such commitments is unfortunately quite often very low, especially for less experienced Scrum teams. Unfulfilled commitments can also have various dangerous consequences. Several years back, when I was coaching a newly formed team with very little agile experience, the team's repeated inability to fulfill its commitments was not only very frustrating, but it also triggered various bad practices in the team, like undercommitments, overestimations, accepting low-quality deliveries, or splitting of non-delivered backlog items at the end of the sprint. Luckily, we were able to identify those bad practices through retrospectives, and the team was able to get rid of them. But if you are not cautious, those bad practices may appear and stay in your team as well. As Kanban has no such commitments, it makes it easier for the team members to focus on the quality of delivery and optimal flow of the work rather than on the fulfillment of the team commitment. Now let's take a look at where Scrum and Kanban put the most emphasis. The primary goal for a Scrum team is to successfully complete the sprint backlog delivery at the end of the sprint. Unfortunately, this may be a weak spot of Scrum, especially for teams not having a solid agile experience. I remember a situation when one of my teams was pushed hard by an inexperienced product owner to deliver the sprint backlog at all costs and to sacrifice the quality of the delivery in favor to the completeness of the delivery. And the team, in order to be able to deliver under this pressure from the product owner, started having bad habits, like not finishing, skipping, or postponing any work that was not visible to the end user or was not critical for the desired functionality. Typical examples of such work that the development teams are skipping was a creation of automated tests or a creation of a good quality user documentation. Evolution of these bad habits should be avoided as much as you can, as such practices may lead to an increased level of stress and workload in the team, to a lower team productivity, and to a lower user satisfaction. This approach also significantly increases the level of technological debt in the codebase and makes development of new features harder and slower. The technological debt may rise to a level when the team is unable to do any feature development and all team resources are completely consumed by firefighting critical defects. To prevent these negative consequences from happening, first, there needs to be a good definition of done in place, and second, both Scrum Master and Product Owner must do their jobs well and support the team in delivering high-quality work. I might do a separate video on this topic, as there is a lot more to say here. So let me know in your comments below if this would be interesting for you or not. On the other hand, Kanban puts the primary focus on a high level of quality for the work being delivered and on the efficiency of the flow of work in the team. In general, this means that there is no pressure on the team to deliver anything without meeting the agreed criteria of quality. This removes stress from the team, enhances quality of the code base, and enables the team to work at a sustainable pace. But as very typical for Kanban, this also requires a discipline, a good amount of self-reflection, and a perfect communication. Another big difference between Scrum and Kanban is limiting work in progress. This so-called WIP limit is a very fundamental Kanban principle which doesn't exist in Scrum. In Kanban, limiting work in progress is mandatory and cannot be omitted, otherwise the team is not doing Kanban. Those WIP limits are Kanban's Achilles heel, as this is exactly the place where many Kanban teams fail. During my professional career, I have met quite a few Kanban teams that were either not limiting their work in progress or not following the agreed WIP limits, or their WIP limits were set incorrectly. A correctly implemented WIP limit decreases lead time, supports a smooth and sustainable flow of work, and helps team members to keep their productivity and focus. Thanks to WIP limits, any bottlenecks in the flow of work become immediately visible, which allows the team to swarm and collaborate on removing them. As I already said, Scrum does not have any such WIP limit. A Scrum team is allowed to have any number of tasks in progress as they feel fit for a successful sprint delivery. Scrum and Kanban have also a different philosophy. Scrum is significantly more prescriptive than Kanban and requires the team to change its way of working according to the framework, while Kanban just takes the existing workflows in the team and optimizes them without significant process changes. Also, in Scrum, one of the framework requirements is that it requires special roles to be present in the team. Each Scrum team must have a Scrum Master and a Product Owner, and those roles require special skills, knowledge, and training. In Kanban, there are no such roles required. This makes a potential transition to Kanban for a team easier and faster. As a result, Kanban may be easier to implement in conservative teams, having a high level of resistance to change from their team members. Now let's talk a bit about management principles in Kanban and Scrum. To be able to manage a team, you need to be able to measure its performance. And for measuring the team performance, Scrum and Kanban use very different primary KPIs. While in Scrum, the team performance is primarily measured using velocity, which is an average number of story points successfully delivered in the past sprints. The Kanban measures the performance primarily using lead time, which is an average time between creation and completion of individual work items. There are many more KPIs that both methodologies may use, so if you'd like me to create another video on that, please let me know in the comments below. When it comes to the planning and forecasting, Scrum offers more structured approach to it than Kanban. In Scrum, the backlog itself should be continually maintained in a prioritized order and estimated, which makes it possible to forecast delivery dates using the team velocity. Also, it is a good team practice to keep the top of the product backlog roughly planned into several sprints ahead. This approach makes the short-term plan for the Scrum team very transparent, and for everyone it is very easy to determine an estimated delivery date for individual backlog items. Many people think that there is no planning and forecasting in Kanban, but this is clearly a myth. The planning and forecasting in Kanban is normally possible, and it can be as reliable as in Scrum. It is similar to Scrum. A prerequisite for a good planning and forecasting in Kanban is a well-managed backlog. Any forecasting is done based on historical team performance data, using various KPIs like lead time, cycle time, or throughput. But compared to Scrum, at least in my experience, the planning and forecasting in Kanban is slightly less transparent and requires a bit more work. Those were the main differences, at least from my perspective, between the two most common agile methodologies used in software development, between Scrum and Kanban. Of course, there are many other differences that I did not mention in this short video, but at least for me, they are not that important. Anyway, let me know in your comments below if you think that there are any other significant differences that I should have included. I might do another video on them. So that's it for today. If you found the video useful, please give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Have a nice day, and see you soon in some of my other videos.